You seem cool.
Dave, you seem cool, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
I have found you on TikTok. I am a big dad joke guy. You stopped me dead in my tracks with some of your jokes, but it wasn't even the jokes. It's just the dummy delivery.
I said to my son, "Your mom blocked me on Facebook for posting too many bird puns." He said, "Yeah, Dad, we all agree you need treatment." I said, "No." Dummy. She wants to be like that? Well, two can't play this game.
It took it to the next level, if we're going to be honest with each other.
Awesome.
You have children, right? How many kids do you have?
6.
I'm sorry, that was 6. You have 6 kids.
6.
Okay,
6.
great. How old's the oldest and how old's the youngest?
She just turned 13, the oldest, this summer, and our youngest is under 1.
Oh wow! So you got a lot going on over there.
Always.
I have 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old boy.
Nice.
I could relate a little bit to that, but I have 12 dogs, so I could relate to the chaos, I guess.
So it's I was gonna say, so the chaos is kind of the same. So,
I make up for it.
Yeah. You make I was gonna say with the 2 kids, you make up for it with the 12 dogs. So
It's I have more souls in my house per capita, but you have more humans. So let me ask, what everybody wants to know. Out of the 6 kids, who's the dummy?
So that's my oldest son. He's the second. And he actually the whole dummy thing started because I remember it was it Red from, like, oh my god, what was Sanford and Son? He would always refer to him as his son as Dummy. And I did this one joke, and I was a joke that I actually found. And I was like, let me change the punchline and just go with, and I just randomly just said dummy out of nowhere as I was recording it. And it just took off. But the thing is, I didn't realize that it was funny until like 3 weeks later. So I was like, wait a minute, that video went viral. Why am I not doing more of that? So I tried it out again, and it just kept rolling. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going with it.
Yeah.
But yeah. There's caveats when you call your son a dummy, which, obviously I'm not really calling him a dummy.
Of course.
Before, so it's crazy.
Well, it's good because you're teaching humor to the young ones too. And that's important. You got to pass that stuff along.
Yep.
Because you have to have basically 2 punchlines, right?
I will do research. I'll find a bunch of jokes that I like, and then I'll look and see which ones can I do that actually have a really good second punchline. Mm-hmm. And I'll either make it up myself, or I'll do research and just look literally all over the internet, all over social media, and be like, this would fit perfectly into that.
Oh, you gotta have some weird search history.
Oh, it's so odd, honestly. Like it really is. Like if you went in there, I think the FBI would be like knocking on my door sometimes. But it was really a process, the first couple ones that I did, and then I started getting easier from there. So it can be a little bit daunting at times to find that second punchline, but I honestly don't know how like real comedians do it. I don't get how they come up with this stuff, but it's
it's insane.
It's
a process for sure. So what do you do if you're not a comedian? You do this for fun, right? So what's the day job?
So before I was really into fitness. I had my own coaching business, and I did that almost full time. My fiance has a really successful business, so she was the breadwinner for a long time. And now with my social media blowing up, I just work with brands now and represent them. It's really cool. We both have always stayed home and worked from home. We just call ourselves unemployable. So so
you make it sound endearing. It's nice. You rebrand
exactly.
it.
It doesn't have a negative connotation to it. So but we always refer to ourselves as just like unemployable, and we've always had the plan of working for ourselves and working from home.
Man. Congrats, man. That's great. That's so great that you're able to do that. So you said you got into fitness. You lost a lot of weight, right?
No, I actually have never had a weight problem, but over the COVID time we had a little bit of an issue. So I think it's probably the most unhealthy I've ever been. So I did slightly go through a bit of a transformation this year, getting back in shape and actually like just getting myself healthy again. Like it wasn't even so much the weight. It was like I was very unhealthy over the last year. So I knew I had to do something, and I just kind of got myself back on track.
Yeah. Well, round's a shape. So, don't knock it out. I'm in shape. I'm just, I'm round.
I was getting to that point. For a while there. Yeah. So I was like, I feel like And again, I was fine with it. I kind of had been to the peak of like my fitness before. And I was like, you know what? I'm like sick of working out. I'm sick of showing fitness progress. And that's what my social media all was before. And that's kind of why I shifted to like the more comedic humor.
You got
because
it.
people are just sick of hearing about like, oh, you're inspired to work out. Let me inspire you to work out. Like, nobody wants to be inspired to work out anymore. I'm like, they want to laugh. This is the time to make people laugh.
Well, that's
so
the pivot, right? Because, you know, fat is funny. So like, that's when you gotta make the jump. And that's one of the perks. If I got to be honest, you know, I get to eat all the sweets I want because it's like a work expense. I go to the bakery and I can write it off.
You like have a whole section. Your accountant's just like, yep, I'm just gonna put that over there.
Yeah. Most people could write off like, you know, musicians could like write off equipment and stuff. I could write off like cannolis and cookies. It works out pretty nice. So you spoke briefly about the inspiration, and I did peek an inspirational poster behind you. I know that one well. Yeah. I love that one with the success is the tip of the iceberg and all the stuff underneath. Yeah. What would you consider some of the obstacles for your success?
Ego is probably is a big one. You know, a lot of people's egos can get in the way of their own success. Mine was one of those. My own ego got in the way of things a lot of times, and you know, just moving that to the side and realizing that like I can't be right about everything is probably one of the biggest things that like helped me to move myself along. Especially putting yourself out there the way that my content has been out there a lot. People will rag on you. They'll say stuff in your comment sections. I mean, and for me, one of the things that I did in the beginning was I was always constantly fighting people back on everything they said. And then at one point I was just like, it's the worst. And honestly, it's the biggest waste of energy. You know, at one point I was just like, there's no point of this. I'm like, I'm just gonna let people say what they say. It's cool. It's fine.
Right. So I'm a big inspirational poster guy as well. So let's talk inspirational posters. One of the one that always hit me was that I always liked was the only bad decision is indecision.
Yep.
And you said that you've worked for yourself and you've done that sort of stuff. So there had to be a time when you decided to do that, right?
Yeah, so I was years ago, before our first daughter was born. I was a server for a long time, and I just basically got sick of being crapped on all the time. Like, I mean, it was like I would go in and be like, I need to make this much money, and I'd be like super positive, and I need to make this and that, and then I would get like a table that would just stiff me for a check. Oh. So it was, and my fiance was the same way. She was a server at the same. That's actually how we met. We were a server at the same restaurant, and we like started dating like shortly after that.
Ooh, work romance. Look at that. That's so nice.
You know, and it's funny because I actually got fired from that job, and then I actually started dating her. We met after that, but but we both have been in the service industry, so we know how it is. And it was kind of like around that time that we were just like, I don't ever want to have to deal with that. Like, I don't want to have to go into work like I have to work this many hours. For me, I kind of just like, I don't want to have to make a decision to go into a job that I don't like. If I'm gonna not like a job, it's gonna be with myself.
Right.
So
be your own boss and fire yourself. Right.
Exactly.
Considering, you know, you are like an inspirational guy, right? I'm gonna get your opinion on one. Okay.
Okay.
I say this one a lot, and I like it. And then I get flack on it because the flip ski of it could possibly, like, if you Missy Elliott, if you flip it and reverse it, people are like, that's a bad way of saying it. So the saying is, impossible is an opinion. And then people say to me, well, then possible is an opinion as well.
Yes. You could very easily flip that. Like you said, is skirt yeah. So
right? Like all of a sudden, it's not so good anymore.
You're like, wait a minute, wait, you just opened my mind. Hold on a second.
It seems so powerful, right? Impossible is an opinion. You're right, but so is possible.
Yeah, so it's possible. It's very easy. You could say impossible is an opinion, but possible is also an opinion. But impossible is an actual, like, I don't think impossible is a thing, honestly, like, because everything that people have said, I mean, we can go back to stories about, you know, running the mile in under 7 minutes or whatever it is. That's like one of the biggest stories that, you know, people want to use, or examples that people want to use. And, you know, they believe that your heart would explode if you ever ran under 7 minutes, and a guy did it. And then all of a sudden in that same year, because one guy did it, 20 more men did it. And so it's any possible and impossible are hand in hand.
Right.
And they both are opinions, but at some point the impossible will become possible. You just have to make it happen. That's all it is.
There you go. See, this is why I'm glad I'm talking to you, Dave. You're hooking it up. But also, we got to give out a "you seem cool" disclaimer to all our listeners. Don't try to run a mile. Don't try to run. If I did, my heart probably would explode. So that's a caveat we just want to put out there. Insurance issues. I don't want to get hit with.
It's going to be like that Instagram disclaimer that's popped up on certain.
It's going to put a little warning symbol. Yeah, a little warning symbol here. It's going to get flagged. So you enjoy? I take it that you enjoy being a parent, right?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah,
somewhat, okay. Right?
No, yeah. It's awesome. Honestly, if I wasn't a parent, I don't know where I would be, because having our daughter actually focus me to have a career, to do something that was going to not only make me money, but to find something that I enjoy. And it took me 13 years later, but I did it, and I'm enjoying it, and we love it. And throughout the process, we've had 6 kids, and we love them to death. And honestly, without being a parent, like I said, I wouldn't have that direction. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have my kids. So
right. Are there any twins in the mix? Or is it all just straight up?
Everyone always asks that question. It's no twins, same mom. Everyone. That's the biggest thing. People always ask those questions. I actually did a video on that of questions that we get for having 6 kids, and some of the questions are outrageous. But some of them are okay, I get that. I understand why you're asking that.
Yeah, the twins one seems obvious. The twins one, the same mom seems weird and impersonal.
It's very if people are oh, it's same mom, and I'm like, what? Oh. Yeah.
You just gotta be no, 6 different ones. We all live together.
So I said in the video, no, actually 7 different moms. So that's fine too.
Dude, they'll be sitting there doing the math. What was your childhood like?
So I had 3 other brothers, one older, 2 younger, and we were really close. We were all best friends. We never really needed many friends because we always had each other. Mm-hmm. So it was always cool, as a kid, because even if our friends weren't around, we always had our brothers to play with. You know what I mean? So it was cool. We were a tight knit group.
That's great. Yeah, I have. I'm the youngest boy. I have 2 older sisters. Okay. So it's so funny because I'm the youngest of 15 cousins. I come from a big Italian family. So I'm the youngest of 15 cousins, and below me, there's 22 cousins. So I'm kind of the bridge between everybody, but I had sisters. So, and then I had a bunch of Italian brothers that were my cousins, right? So they were 3 brothers, and they'd always take
they're your brothers anyway.
That's right. And they used to take me to play and toughen me up. And I used to be do I have to go over Jimmy's house? I was no, I don't want. Because they'd be they used to play this game with me when I was little called Pua, where they would make me run around in the basement, and they would grab pillows, and they had a hardwood floor, and they would trip me and try to make me fall on the pillow. They would throw cushions from the couch and try to make it. I would miss more than half the time. So
I feel that should be what is that show with all the obstacle courses? It's
like Wipeout. It's like Wipeout.
I'm that should be an obstacle course on there. Easily.
It's the Italian version of Wipeout. It's the Italian version of Wipeout. Yeah,
dude, that's your next show right there.
Yeah, that's it. I'm coming up with ideas right on here. It's great.
Italian Wipeout.
The Italian Wipeout is great. That's a great name for a show just by itself. You just fall into bowls of spaghetti. Legacy was always a thing for me, trying to think about what my kids will learn from me and what you'd be remembered for. I lost my dad at a pretty young age. I lost my dad at 18. So it was always and he made such an impact even at 18. So it was always just a thing for me. So if you have to imprint something on them that they could take forward, what are you trying to do for that?
I mean, it's not even for me, their mom is so such a strong person. She's and it's crazy because women are so much different than guys are. They have that instinct where they pick up everything and they'll just run with it. She started a business overnight and turned it into a 7-figure business in less than a year. And she did it with scrap paper from our freaking living room floor. So if I was to imprint anything as far as what I've learned,
be like your mom. You're input though. Be like your mom.
Be more like your mom. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna shoot you straight. I'm your dad. I'm here. I love you.
But be like your mom.
We work out, success and the posters and all. But listen, be like mom.
I I just realized as I'm saying that, that's basically what I was saying.
That is what you have to offer your children, to be like somebody else.
To be like somebody else. No, listen, this is what I'm on my deathbed. Here's what I want you to take away from my life. Go be like your mom. Okay. That's what I want you to do. But no, like, honestly, like, I want them to know that, like, whatever they put in their mind that they want to go for, that they should just go for it. Yeah. And for me, the best thing I think I've learned in my life is the things that you don't go for, you never know. You never know because you never went for it. So that's what I want to leave them with, because even with all of this like social media hype and all this stuff, it'll calm down eventually. For sure. But I still want them to know that, like, I went for it. Like, I went for those big things. I did the interviews. I put myself out there. Yeah. And you're making the most of an opportunity. That's really great. Exactly. And like, don't squander the opportunities that you have. So yeah. Isn't it funny to think, in your world, would you ever think that you ever made Will Smith laugh? Isn't that crazy? Never. Dude, I'm not kidding. So we were sitting on the couch. It was a Sunday night. I still remember. And I remember the week before this happened, I was joking around with my fiance, and I was saying, if Will Smith ever like actually shared my stuff, even if he actually just liked it, I didn't even care if he just liked it. Yeah. I think I would just, my life is complete at that point. I'm good. And lo and behold, we're sitting on the couch, and someone, I see a retweet of my video on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the page, and I was like, that looks like Will Smith's picture. And because I know from his Instagram, but I'm like, that's not his page. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks for, retweeting or whatever. And the guy was like, yo, dude, this is such a funny video. We're going to forward it to a couple people or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm all excited. I'm telling her, I was like, I thought it was Will Smith, and it wasn't. An hour later, my buddy Josh sends me a DM and goes, yo, big time. He was like, I see you all over social media now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he sent me my own video. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not my page. I click on it, and it's Will Smith's page. Oh, that's awesome. And I was like, what? I was like, and she was like, she's asleep, like on the couch next to me. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, are you serious? I was like, Will Smith just shared my stuff. She's like, what? And I was like, he literally just shared she's like, who? And I was like, Will Smith. So it was like the next like 48 hours was like insane. People are like telling me, they're like, I'm literally only following you because Will Smith shared your stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know who you are. I wouldn't care. And I was like, well, thank you. Also kind of like an insult to me, but thank you. Well, you get him in with the Will Smith, and you keep him with the good content. So that's exactly what you're doing, man. That was it. And it was a wrap from there. So, it was cool. And people were like, did he like let you know ahead of time? Or like, did you guys talk? Everyone think it's funny because like a week or two after that, everyone was like, yo, man, I got this idea. Do you think you could like reach out to Will for me? Like, could you do that? And I'm like, I'm not friends with the guy. Like, I'm like, he didn't even tell me he was going to share the thing. I'm not even kidding. Like 10 people must have messaged me being like, dude, I had this idea. Like, do you think you could like reach out to Will and like see if and I'm like, I don't know him. I was like, he just shared something. Well, when you get to meet him, at least you'll have some talking points when you get to meet him now, at least. Exactly. Yeah. So he's actually coming to Philly in I think October. So yeah, for November for the book read. He starts November 9th. Yeah. I'm seeing him in Brooklyn November and okay. November. So I think he's coming here, and then he's going up to New York. Yeah. So we'll use that as the excerpt, because then people will think he's coming to your house. Yeah, no, like he's coming here. Yeah, and I mean, like, God. He's coming to Philly for his book tour, is what I meant, and so I was gonna try and go see him then, but then I think he's going up to New York. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I was right, Dave. You are cool. You definitely seem cool, and you are, buddy. Thank you so much. I would say semi-cool. Yeah. There's a lot, but we've learned that your wife is cooler, and everybody should be like your wife and really not worry about it. Exactly. Yes, way cooler.